Close your eyes and imagine flying to Beijing only to realize you had forgotten to learn Mandarin, or falling in love with an alcoholic on the bar car of a train to Chicago. Not so easy, right? In David Sedaris' book, Let's Explore Diabetes with Owls, his style of writing pulls you right into these situations, as if you were sitting there with him watching them happen. Sedaris uses a conversational tone in his writing, which makes it seem more like he's telling you, his old friend, a story rather than you reading it out of his book. I laughed out loud multiple times while reading stories of his adventures, and multiple times I almost wanted to make a comment to Sedaris, until I remembered I was in fact not with him, but actually reading what he had to say. While Sedaris talks about situations that are not easy to relate to, he also talks about everyday situations, like going to the dentist or getting a colonoscopy. I know this sounds like slam your head into a wall, looking at someone else's vacation pictures boring, but David Sedaris is able to work humor into these everyday events in order to make the most trivial occurrences something worth reading about. Sedaris also tells humorous stories about situations everyone has had to deal with. For example, in his short story Memory Lapse, Sedaris recalls a time when he was a boy on the swim team, but his dad was obsessed with another, faster boy. Sedaris recalls his feelings of anger and disappointment that no matter what he did, even if he beat the other boy, his dad still put the other boy on a pedestal above Sedaris. Although you may not be able to relate to that exact situation, everyone has had a time in their lives when they feel inadequate no matter what they do. Sedaris then goes on to talk about how later on in life he discovered swimming again, and actually began to like it when there was no one to compare him to. In this story, Sedaris is able to explain his realization that although you may not be the best at something, that's no reason to feel inadequate. Additionally, Sedaris is able to use his wit to make satirical social critiques of the world around him. He does this by writing an essay pretending to be the person he is making fun of. In his essay, I Break for Traditional Marriage, Sedaris embodies a straight man and his reaction when he finds out that same-sex marriage is now legal in New York. His escapades include shooting his wife and daughter because if homosexuality is no longer a sin, who says murder is? And kicking his mother-in-law out of their garage she has been living in before some activist decides cars don't belong in garages. Through this essay, Sedaris is able to provide a social commentary and opens people's eyes to the ridiculousness of other people's opposition. He is able to show people through humor that this new law isn't affecting anyone who doesn't want to be affected by it. Although Sedaris does not explore diabetes, nor does he explore owls in his book, he does explore events that don't seem significant in his life, but with his humorous descriptions, he is able to prove that any small event can be significant, and he is able to keep the reader engaged throughout the entire story.